In 2005 I started, and then worked with Gary and Kyle McDonald. And that summer there was basically just the three of us who were in the stream and clearing out. It was a learning experience for me because when I went there, Kyle was sort of saying you can't cut too much out, and I was more for cleaning everything out, so I come to a happy medium there. But I certainly enjoyed it, and to see the change in the stream over the year. One thing that really impressed me was just how fast those alder bushes can grow. 2 or 3 years and they'll almost completely fill in the stream there. And then I had a chance one fall to go with Fred and Rose and to walk from North Lake up to the Baltic, checking for salmon spawning areas. And that was impressive too, to see how many there actually were, and to travel with them and count them and find the number. And according to Fred, in the last, I haven't done it the last couple of years, but the numbers have increased substantially in those streams. But the one thing that was, never thought too much about beaver, but to go in and see these beaver dams, and then to actually, realize that when fish start to migrate upstream, they can't get beyond those beaver dams, and it's certainly blocking the Gaspereau from coming up in the spring, and then your salmon or trout other times of the year. So if they get clear of those, I think it would help a lot in the spawning of fish coming up the streams. But they certainly do multiply very fast. I was sort of impressed with CBC had a Nature Things had done the super beaver in Russia, and if things start happening here like they do there will be none of those streams left, because they're completely blocking large rivers over there. Well, there's actually all of them were former students that I had at Consolidated School, and those boys were good workers. I certainly enjoyed working with them as I was running a chainsaw and out there, cutting things, and they were throwing things out of the way. And it was interesting to listen to them talk about their education and how they're furthering their education. And two of them, I think, have decided that they're going to look at work with wildlife and stream management and this sort of thing, which is great for this area. And the other people, I think, passed the word along, talking about what's happening and how people they talk to, I think, would better realize that things we have to do around streams to help maintain them. And they've also been there when we've been electrosaning and putting fish in and counting the numbers that are there, and just to see the numbers that are there. And last summer, our release of 4,000 or 5,000 smolt in the upper Souris River area there. Hopefully those will come back, and they'll be around to see what's happening down the road. Well, basically, I've been always just looking after cutting with the chainsaw on that. And in the last couple of years, then Luke, I think, and Timmy both have gotten a license that they can do some of that work as well. And being there to just keep things going, and I guess Fred requires me to be a leader in this area to keep the work moving. And certainly we've covered a lot of ground, and the streams are looking much better than they were. I think Fred mentioned to me that he was looking for somebody, and so I said, yeah, I'd give it a try. I'd like to try different things after retirement from teaching, and I do other work. I go with Ching Brothers planting and digging, and this is something in between that I enjoy. And I love being outside, and I like the morning work where we go to work at 6 and work till 2, and that's my time of day is the mornings. I'm hoping that really works, and the thing I'm wondering about is there doesn't seem to be a lot of runoff coming from the other stream there, and if that will actually fill up. And I thought at first it wouldn't, but then to go back and see it the year afterwards, where all of the algae and stuff that's coming in over top at high tide, and then it's collecting there afterwards. And if that continues to happen, then certainly it should be, within a few years, that should be almost completely covered there with other material. And the growth of weeds is actually starting, or not weeds, I shouldn't say weeds, the rushes and that are starting to, and the seagrass is starting to grow there now. And there's still a little bit of work to do there up around the spring that's on the far side of it, which hopefully that will narrow down and cause that to continue to run there and flow. Yeah, in the future then I would see, having to maintain a crew every summer to go back and remove down trees. There's a good bit of that happening. When you clear cut back behind the stream and you leave the space that's required there, the larger trees, because they're growing in wet areas, don't have a large root base, and they tend to come down the streams. And when those come down and the limbs go down in the stream, they will, in a very short period of time, block the stream off, and so you can't have fish migrating there. So you have to check those every year to see that those trees are completely cleaned out there and the fish passage can take place. Also maintaining a watch on the beaver to see that they're removed every year. And then, like I said earlier, with the alders in the narrower streams, they will, within, I said 2 or 3 years, but at least 4 years, they would completely block the stream and cause blockages that trout are not going to be able to, or salmon are not going to be able to get up and spawn and take away from the, because they collect the silt and the silt is building up. And then the silt traps that we've been putting along the side have also been a great help. You didn't realize how much collect until you go back 2 years later and find that the silt trap you put in some places is completely covered. But you do have this flow of water next to it that's been maintained rather than it completely filling across. So that work will have to be maintained if they want to retain, their salmon spawning areas and their trout spawning areas as well.